Yo, what's up everyone and welcome.
I need to try it first.
And it was an incredible
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills.
Anyways, thanks for watching.
If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma,
I cannot wait until NBC takes over. Oh my god, Fox, you suck! Yo, what's up everyone, my name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of MDK Racing Victory Style, recapping Talladega, and boy do we got a lot of stuff to talk about, from the car to the finish to the broadcast, but let's focus on the finish of the race. So this race kind of had the same feeling as to the Daytona 500. What I mean by that is majority of the race were fuel saving mode. We saw some three wide racing, some really good three wide racing that happened for majority of the race, but that was mainly due to the fact of drivers saving fuel. I mean, you would see drivers even go as little as 30 some odd percent throttle. I mean, they were racing at speeds of just over 175 miles an hour with lap times that excess over 53 seconds. I mean, they were running around 2 seconds slower than their qualifying lap when they were by themselves, which, to be fair, when you look at how the next gen package is, the way it's being presented, the only way to get three wide racing is if the bottom two are saving fuel. So it was annoying just because you knew that these drivers were just saving. On one side, I understand the strategy portion of it, and visually from the eye test, it's a lot better to see three wide racing than it would be to see a freight train. So it's kind of like, okay, would you rather prefer to have them save fuel three wide or go all out but single file? Which one would you prefer? But anyways, this leads up to on lap 152, Toyota tried to do something different because they were still, even this late into the race, were still saving fuel. What Toyota decided to do is have all the Toyota drivers pit, basically short pit, so that they can go all of a sudden full throttle the entire way, while all the other Chevrolet and Ford drivers, they're staying out, they're saving fuel. If they're going 30% odd throttle while the Toyota drivers are going over, they're going full out 100% throttle, they can easily eradicate that lead and take over and lead the rest of the race. Well, they did that and it was working until then everything decided to just blow up in their face. So entering turns 3 and 4 on lap 157, I believe, they entered a hump. That tunnel entering turns 3 and 4, they entered that bump that got the cars all squirrely. Jarno Nemechek then hits Bubba Wallace. Wallace hits Jones. Jones gets sideways, and Jones takes a hellacious hit into the outside wall. That's one of the hardest hits I've seen in the next gen car. Obviously brought back a lot of memories of a certain crash a few years ago, but Jones took a massive hit head on, and then Nemechek hits Denny Hamlin. I mean, this race, at least that moment, would seem to be perfect for the Toyota camp. In about 4 or 5 laps, 4 of the 6 drivers were out of the race. I mean, I've never seen a plan blow up in their face like that in a long time, where you make a plan that seemed to work perfectly, to be executed perfectly, just to then screw it up. I mean, it was just a combination of that hump, that tunnel in turn 3, pushing way too aggressively with Nemechek hitting Wallace, who hit Jones, and that set up everything up. Luckily, Jones was out of the car under his own power. He just said that his back was a little bit sore. Took a while for Fox to mention that, but yeah, luckily they were okay. That sets up for, I believe, around 25 or so laps to go, shootout between the two drivers of Michael McDowell and Tyler Reddick. Reddick on the outside lane was getting pushed from Martin Truex Jr., while Michael McDowell on the inside lane was getting pushed from Brad Keselowski. And it was annoying because you could see it setting up. Those two drivers, those two lanes, it was like a freight train. It was 2x2 freight train. Truex would push Reddick a little bit, then Keselowski would push McDowell, but the outside lane, a run could not be set up on the third lane on the outside, at least not for a long time. Shane Van Gisbergen and Chase Elliott, they tried to make something on that third lane, but it worked for about maybe 4 or 5 laps, but they were not able to get up to the front quickly. When I think Ty Gibbs made a move to go up top, as well as Kyle Busch, to try and form that third lane died, and we were right back to 2x2 freight training. It was very, very annoying. But on the final lap, typical Talladega fashion, all hell breaks loose. Keselowski gives McDowell a big shove on the back straightaway entering turn 3. McDowell jumps to the lead, but you can see it setting up. Keselowski was going to get a big push from Gragson. Keselowski makes a run to the high side. McDowell blocks. Keselowski comes down low, gets a push from Gragson. McDowell blocks again, gets himself turned, and a huge, tremendous accident takes place. But with Reddick, with all that momentum, swoops by on the outside lane to pass Keselowski to steal the win at Talladega for his first win of 2024, his 6th win of his Cup career, and the 2nd win for 23XI Racing at Talladega. And some of the images that emerged from that race, that finish, I should say, were incredible because, I mean, Corey LaJoie, look at his onboard camera right here. I mean, everything's running fine, nice, yada, yada. Gets involved in a crash, and then with Josh Berry, Berry gets on his side. LaJoie just full on goes upside down on top of cars before landing back on the ground on his side and rode the wall past the start finish line to finish 19th. He then, or 18th, I should say, gets back upside down before coming to a rest on his wheels. I mean, it was a tremendous accident. It was one of the wildest accidents I've seen at Talladega, just because when you look at the camera coming to start finish line, it seemed as though that you saw 3 or 4 cars upside down. I'd never seen that in a while in a NASCAR race. So it was amazing to see. Luckily, though, everyone got out under their own power. But man, just a predictable ending to that race. I could see that setting up. As soon as McDowell got out in front in turn 3, when he had that huge lead, right away you knew, all right, Keselowski's gonna get a run. He's gonna block or gonna go up top, go down low. McDowell double blocks, gets himself turned, big crash. It was almost exactly like the 2020 Daytona 500 where Newman tried to double block, didn't align the bumpers. Leader gets turned, and on the 3rd driver on the outside lane just swoops by, that being Reddick, wins the race. There was a cool moment, though, with Michael Jordan. Him holding Tyler Reddick's son, Bo, just basically telling him, hey, we're going to Victory Lane, we're going to go celebrate. That was a cool moment. A lot of videos of MJ celebrating, and it seemed as though that he was celebrating the most. It is so cool to see a guy like Michael Jordan, and I've said this time and time again, but it's so cool to see a guy like MJ who is not, he's like a race fan at heart. I mean, Billy Scott even said, Reddick's crew chief say he watches every truck, Xfinity, and Cup race just to do anything he can to give information to help build this team, which is awesome to see a guy like MJ be so committed to NASCAR. So yeah, let's take a look at the race results here. So Tyler Reddick wins. 2nd place is Brad Keselowski once again. Oh, so close, yet so far. Noah Gragson, another good run for him in 3rd place for that 10 car. Stewart-Haas Racing, they've just been slowly getting better and better. 4th place is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Right at the top 5 is Alex Bowman, I should say. Anthony Alfredo, though, good run for him. Finished 3rd in the Xfinity race yesterday and 6th today in the Cup race. Byron, Gilliland, Hemrick, and Burton, the top 10. Truex in 11th. I'm pretty sure all of these drivers were involved in that final lap crash. Truex 11th. Briscoe, Chastain, Priest, and Elliott. Josh Berry finishes 16th. Hostafar and LaJoie, teammates. In fact, the 77 was riding with the 7 car coming to the finish line. Teammates 17th and 18th, and then teammates Logano and Blaney 19th and 20th. Larson and Gibbs, Cendric, Ware, and Busch at the top 25. Kyle Busch in 26. Suarez, Gisbergen, Smith, and Dillon, the top 30. McDowell led at the final lap, ends up finishing in 31st. BJ McLeod had a good start to the race. That black car was stout, leading early on until he had no fuel pressure, got into the wall very early in the race, ends up finishing in 32nd, and then the rest of these drivers were involved in earlier accidents. John Hunter Nemechek 33rd, Justin Haley 34th, and then the final 4 spots are all Toyota drivers: Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. Now, Christopher Bell, the reason why he finished dead last was around 55 laps to go when a stack up took place on the back straightaway. That saw Haley getting bumped sideways into Christopher Bell, sending Bell into the wall. So that's why Bell finished in dead last. Here's a look at the point standings following Talladega. 16 races to go until the playoffs begin. Larson still your points leader at top of the board. Truex remains in 2nd place. 3rd, Chase Elliott now. 4th is William Byron, and Tyler Reddick, now colored in green, jumps up 3 spots to now be a part of the playoffs. Denny Hamlin falls to 6th. Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Ross Chastain, and Alex Bowman the top 10. Bubba Wallace falls to 11th. Chase Briscoe remains in 12th. Bell to 13th. Brad Keselowski, one of the biggest movers, up to 14th place, minus 106. Chris Buescher holds the final transfer spot for the playoffs ahead of Kyle Busch, plus 11. He's sitting in 16th currently under the playoff grid. Kyle Busch, the first one out, 11th behind. Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, and now Eric Jones, the top 20. Daniel Suarez in the playoffs with that win at Atlanta. So, yeah, let's talk about this race. This race, man, it exposed a lot. I mean, Kyle Busch said it best because he tweeted out saying, right in line equals finish where you are. Try to race for the win equals finish last. I hate these bleeping cars. And yeah, I mean, listen, this next gen car is a work in progress, but we got some issues. We talk about mainly the road courses and short tracks, but we have to talk about the super speedways. Now, again, people are saying we need to get rid of these cars. I don't think that's the case. I think the solutions are there. It's just that NASCAR isn't willing to do it. Again, I look at the COT car. It was horrible in its first 3 years. Almost all around, it was bad, but NASCAR made the necessary changes and made it good. Look at the Gen 6 car. It was horrible in the super speedways, but then they made adjustments to it and it became really good. The next gen car has the potential to become a really good race car on all types of tracks. NASCAR just needs to make the cars less draggy for the super speedways, and obviously needs to have a car that, or a tire that wears, and or more horsepower for the short tracks and road courses. The solutions are there, just NASCAR doesn't want to do anything about it for God knows why. But that's enough to talk about the car. From the racing, again, similar to Daytona, lots of fuel saving. I don't know how you can get rid of that. The only way I could see that happening is if you get rid of stage cautions. That way, you kind of can't bank on a caution. You cannot bank on a good fuel strategy because you don't know when the caution is going to arrive. That's the only solution that I have. I don't know where this fuel saving mode came from with this next gen car because it wasn't like it in the first 2 years or so, I believe, of next gen, and now all of a sudden, fuel saving. Don't know where it came from, but it's annoying a little bit. It is good from the eye test, because seeing three-wide racing, oh, that's incredible, that's great. But you then realize that's only happening because drivers are saving fuel. I mean, as soon as we got to the end of the race, when they went full throttle, you couldn't build a third lane to save your life. It was mainly just those 2 lanes on the bottom and the middle lane. Oh, and by the way, I just want to point out with Corey LaJoie, he finished in 18th place. The last time a driver in NASCAR finished a race with no wheels on the ground was Clint Bowyer in 2007 Daytona 500, who finished 18th. So history repeating itself in a way. And not only that, they were both driving the 7 car, kind of. Bowyer with the 07, LaJoie with the 7. So again, history kind of repeating itself. But anyways, going on a tangent, back to my point with this racing is that with fuel strategy, it was nice in a way, but it was just, a bit boring still, because it's like, there's nothing really to gain from it. You had a lot of drivers on the radio saying that this racing sucks, this is awful. And I don't know, me personally, I just don't see the gain in fuel strategy in trying to make it, because you're going to be bunched up anyways. You're going to be bunched up anyways with those 2 cautions, those mandatory cautions at the end of stages. What's the point of it? So, I don't know. It's just annoying. Now, we've talked about the finish. We've talked about the racing. Let's talk about the broadcast. Oh my God, the broadcast was so infuriating to watch. Thank God I have the Saudi Arabian live stream where it's they don't ever go to commercial. Thank God I have that, because wow, Fox, you suck. Whoever is a producer, director, fire them all, because you are trash. All right, commentators were fine, but the production. First off, I know I talked about in a video last year or so about the commercials, but I swear it got worse, because we would have a caution a commercial break every 5 or 6 laps. One time, I think at the end of stage 2, where Fox went to commercial with 6 or so laps to go in the stage. Why? Because here's the thing. They go to commercial, they come back in 2 laps, just so that in another 4 laps, they go back to commercial. It's like, why? Why? What is it with and the thing is, Fox, they pick out the commercials, right? I thought at first maybe that they were going to front load the commercials by saying, okay, let's get them out of the way so that in the second half of the race, it's not as common. No. It was as bad at the beginning just as it was bad at the end. All right, they didn't go to commercial break in the last 20 some odd laps, which I think, I don't even remember at this point because the amount of commercials were so much and it was so annoying. Just ads on top of ads on top of ads on top of ads. The production quality of Fox is horrendous. Like, and I still remember watching old broadcasting from Fox back in like the 01 to as late as like maybe 2013, 2015. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if they changed people behind the scenes. I don't know what, but Fox's coverage is so horrendous. And they are a main, I would argue that Fox is the main reason of stunting NASCAR's growth. It's like night and day when NBC takes over. And the fact that Fox, they are still going to be on board until 2031 is pathetic, especially when they have the Daytona 500, our biggest race. You want to be able to put on the best presentation you can. I know if NBC does it, they're going to smash it out of the park, just like they did with Chicago. They smashed it. Fox makes NASCAR look like a joke, and I think they only look at NASCAR as a cash grab. That's all they look at NASCAR at. How do we fill up this race broadcast with as many ads as possible to make as much money as possible? Because the amount of investment they put in with their ad breaks compared to their production quality of putting on the actual race, it is just aggravating. It's aggravating just watching it, because I watched the Saudi Arabian broadcast on my computer and I watched the actual TV broadcast behind me from my actual TV. So I can hear it. As soon as we go to commercial, I go to the Saudi Arabian broadcasting stream, and when it's back on, I go back to the Fox broadcast. But I swear, it's just unbelievable. It's like every 5 laps or so. How do you expect new fans to get invested into the sport when you keep cutting away like every single time? It was just so aggravating. But overall, what would I give this race? I give this race maybe a 6 or 7. It was okay. Again, annoying with the fuel saving, but it was okay. It had some moments. There was a cool moment with Chris Buescher made an incredible pass after Logano did a typical Logano block and try to wreck the field. Buescher made an incredible move to keep this momentum to take the lead with Ryan Preece, so that was cool to see. There still needs to be a lot of work with this next-gen car. And the thing is, again, a lot of people say, get rid of this car. No, I don't think you need to get rid of it. You just need to make some aero changes. Okay, for short tracks and road courses, horsepower and tires. Bristol proved that it's possible to have good racing on short tracks with this car. With the super speedway racing, we know there's potential there. NASCAR has just got to make the necessary changes with this aero package, and mainly is to make the cars less draggy. Make the car less draggy so that they're able to have greater runs and they're able to do more stuff, so that you don't have a situation like what we saw today, where the last 20 some odd laps, it was a 2x2 freight train. You couldn't make a run on the third lane. If you even for a second jump out of line, it was like a parachute. You're going to the back and you're never going up to the front. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I had fun, but it was fun in a very annoying way. I gotta say though, as a 2311 fan and as a Tyler Reddick, especially a Jordan Brand, seeing that Jordan Brand car in victory lane is awesome to see. So the finish was happy for Reddick, happy for MJ 2311 Racing, but my God, there is, from the production standpoint to the car standpoint, while it was fun, there were still a lot of things to be frustrated about. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. Sorry if I went on a bit of a tangent. That's what happens when I get all riled up. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this race. Like I said, in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.